Hello, everyone. I am Jessica Lindsey, and today I am going to talk about um, this book written by Jacqueline Woodson, A Brown Girl Dreaming. Um, so, this book is a 2014 adolescent novel told in verse by author Jacqueline Woodson. It discusses the author's childhood life as an African American growing up in 1960s in South Carolina and New York. It was awarded the National Book Award winner and Coretta Scott King Award and Newbery Honor Award. Very outstanding literary work. Um, so the text narrates the childhood life of Jacqueline Woodson being in a family of African American households living during the civil rights movement. It describes the author as a playful daughter, a wonderful friend, and a child with a good character. She was born in Ohio, but she spent so much going back and forth um, of her dad's and mom's side of the family until her parents got divorced. They then settled to first in Greenville, and then when grandma passed away, no, grandpa passed away, they moved to they followed mom to New York and settled there um, throughout her childhood life. As much as she put in verse those good, happy memories, she also had memories that are painful, that describe struggles and um, hard life, I would say. And it depicts in the text how she mourned and the losses of her loved ones. Growing up in a world, in both world, um, during this chaotic time, their family is strong and faithful. As Jehovah's Witnesses, they were wrapped around the belief of hope and faith in God. Jacqueline's religion um, played a significant role in her school age and even towards um, how she sees life and how she sees um, the society in the during those times. It also helped her with literacy skills, particularly in reading difficulties. Overall, it's a story about family, friends, religion, and the evolution of society through times, especially when it comes to racism and discrimination. What I enjoy the most about this book, um, from an immigrant point of view, is that I enjoyed the knowledge I acquired after reading this book. And more than anything else, is really the inspiration I got from the author. It gives me also a window of what it was like during those historical years from a child lens, especially. I remember when I read or watched a documentary about civil rights movement here in the US, because we have two in the Philippines. It's shown horrific and violent stories that truly, broke. And if I watch it, it really breaks my heart um, again and again. In some ways, made me an emotional at that moment, making me feel anger towards those people, particular group of people in the past, and even to people now in the society who manipulate the minds of ordinary citizen. But with this book, I found reading it so light while imagining violent events and heavy emotions of discrimination um, that the author described in one of the verses. It does have a different impact on reflecting my perspective and developing my knowledge on the society here, of the society here in the US. Thus, it made me appreciate the work of those leaders from the civil rights movement to make the people in this country at least um, coexist with each other with more acceptance and respect. I also like how she narrates, the author narrates her journey as a student who struggles badly during her early literacy. For me, it's inspiring to know that some great people truly shine through perseverance, like Jacqueline Wilson. Um, for so many reasons, I really connect to her. I really connect with her experience, maybe in a different level, in a different setting, but the, this book is very close to my heart, I would say. I also I am heavily also inspired by the people she mentioned in one of the verses, particularly her uncle and her fifth grade teacher, Miss Vivo, who I think she made who I think made her who I think who made her a great storyteller nowadays. Um, these people are part of those who believe in her talent at an early age. There's it's not those people are very significant to, I would say, like, I would say that this kind of people in our lives are very important to our formulation of hopes and dreams most of the time. Like, I would say, um, especially growing up nowadays, you really have to have someone that you can talk to and that can always lift you up and believe in you. Jacqueline has had those people during her early age, her teacher and her uncle, aside from her family. However, there is a need to be cautious in utilizing this instructional approach, um, in utilizing this text in our instructional approach for teachers, since it still covers the current problem of the society, the discrimination and racism. Um, Sometimes I still feel in some places, but most of the time I love my experience here in the US. Um, I believe there is a need to review first for an educator to use this, um, to review and align objectives, to make sure to focus on to what an educator wants to come across or wants for students to reflect onto, especially there are a few concepts that may be focused more. So yeah, um, there's just a need to, again, to be cautious of some of those concepts to make sure it's child students friendly and strategies are and the approach up are more appropriate to the grade level. um, I know if you're gonna read the book, there's a part where it also discusses into it also introduce gender identity. Um, so yeah, it's a very, again, it's also good to have this kind of awareness. But as far as my experience in the Philippines and in United Arab Emirates, I know that there are stuff that school censored due to religion and cultural reason. So I would suggest, if this is an amazing book, but if an educator wants to use this, just to maybe like um, talk to the building leaders, to the principal or coach, for approval and collaboration of how to make it more intentional and effective to whatever objective um, well an educator wants to achieve at the end of the day, at the end of the reading. But yeah, developmental appropriateness in teaching is really significant for me. That's why I thought the way I wanted it to be um, taught in school, because again, some topics are not just appropriate yet for some grade levels. So, but I believe, and I would suggest that to use this book to 13 years old students and up. So maybe late middle school and high school students. Because again, it touches on some sensitive issues that for me, with this group of ages, just with the effective use of approach and strategies and um, just being intentional too would be very beneficial to discuss concepts of religion, culture, and history. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes the system doesn't really want to portray bad things in the past, but sometimes it is very important for others to know, especially for our um, African American students. It's for me, it is very imperative for them to realize like we've come this so far, and from my lens, I appreciate the work that um, the leaders of this group of people had done in in our history. So much more to this new generation of youth, new generation of you African American students. Yeah. So as much as I enjoyed it and was so inspired after reading it, for sure this group of ages will enjoy it even more. As it really again also uses friendly language. So what I mean is most of the descriptive words are helpful for students to imagine the events and understand the emotions it portrays. Um, Jacqueline Woodson is very amazing writer. So before I end this, I want to read one of her verses in the text that um, for me lifted my morale as a teacher, that the author wrote about her um, fifth grade teacher, Miss Vivo. And it's on pages 311 to 312. 311 to 300. A writer. You are a writer, Miss Vivo says, her gray eyes bright behind thin wire face. Her smile bigger than anything, so I smiled back, happy to hear these words from a teacher's mouth. She is a feminist. She tells us 35th grade hands bend into desks where our dictionaries wait to open yet another world to us. Miss Vivo pauses, watches our fingers fly. Webster's has our answers. Equal rights, a boy named Andrew yells out for women. My hands freeze on the thin white pages. Like blacks, Miss Vivo too is part of a revolution. But right now, that revolution is so far away from me. This moment, this here, this right now is my teacher saying, "You are a writer," as she holds the poem, and I'm just beginning the first four lines stolen from my sister. Black brothers, black sisters, all of them were great. No fear, no fight, but a willingness to fight. You can have them, Belle said when she saw I don't want to be a poet. And then my own pencil moving late into the evening. In big fine houses live the whites. In little old shops live the blacks. But the blacks were smart. In fear they took no part. One of them was Martin with a heart of gold. You are a writer, Miss Vivo says, holding my poem out to me and standing in front of the class, taking my poem from her. My voice shakes as I recite the first line. Black brothers, black sisters, all of them were great. But my voice grows stronger with each word because more than anything else in the world, I want to believe her. So inspiring. Thank you for watching.